consistency is what's going to make the difference. I had a team, and this young guy was on my team. He was 22 when he came on the team. And I would sit in the office and call expireds, and he would listen to me. And it must have been 6 months, and he got no results. And then he started getting results. So now he's 33 years old. He's like a multimillionaire. He has 600, he owns 600 homes, and when I think about somebody, it came from, it wasn't like he was working all day. He was just consistently working every day.
Hi, my name is Noelle with Today's Brew, where top producing real estate agents share their tips and tricks on taking more listings, making more money, and having fun doing it. Today, I want to welcome the Charleston matchmaker and the certified success coach, Betty Gales. Hi, Betty. How are you?
Hey, I'm very good. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you for coming on. Tell us a little bit about yourself for everyone who doesn't know who you are.
Yeah, I've been selling real estate here in Charleston for over 30 years. I guess it was about 8 years ago, I went into the coaching arena and I coached with Tom Ferry for 7 years. And now I'm kind of coaching on my own. I'm doing a new program where I work with a group of agents at the same time on a mastery program that we can talk about later. But I love working with people that are using Espresso because I've been using it since it started.
Thank you
I love
so much
it. Love
for being such a supporter. So what do you use Espresso for? Do you prospect daily?
I do. And I have, so when I was coaching, I got out of it. And it was also the hardest time for expireds during that time. And now I'm back into it because there's so many more expireds. And I use the Espresso format for all of my prospecting. It's almost like I use it for, for my recruiting, for my calling of my clients. I use the whole thing. It's a simple way to organize things for me and to make my calls straight from the system.
It certainly is. And now you mentioned expireds coming back. There was the last few years, not many of them. So is expireds maybe your favorite source to call? Is that?
I tell you what, that's how my claim to fame. When I started early, I don't know, it must have been a couple years when I first started real estate that I started noticing expireds and nobody was working them, right? So I went with Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry was my coach early on. And I just took to the expireds. And I'll say that my business was built on expireds. Over the years, and I've always continued to do it. So there are a lot of things involved in the personality of a person who loves to do expireds, right?
100%. That's actually my favorite source to work as well. And everyone told me I was crazy when I first got in the business, but something about it was not as intimidating for some reason. How do you feel scripts play a role for you talking to expireds and getting the listing appointment?
I think the whole thing is being comfortable. So starting out with a script is very important, and what you say at the beginning. I've been doing it for so long. I have sort of the script that I use, but I think the most important thing is not coming across scripted because they can spot that right away. So you really want to get good at your scripts. But the most important thing is to listen to what they're saying. Early on, I remember getting this huge listing. And she said, Betty, all these people are calling me, trying to get this listing. Like I was not one of them,
Like a friend. She trusts me.
Exactly. Because instead of worrying about what I'm going to say, I was more interested in listening to their story and why their property didn't sell. I came from curiosity, even with the script.
So that's how you stood out from other agents.
Exactly.
Rapport with them. So what about your lead follow-up if it wasn't that easy the first time around and getting the listing?
Yes. And here's what I have been discovering after my long career of coaching and selling real estate. Okay. And, we've heard this, it's all in the follow-up, all in the follow-up. It expires particularly. And I always love to tell the story of Andrew Lacey, who's a coach, who was up on the panel when I went to a Mike Ferry event. And he and his sister, this is great publicity for him, were doing 300 deals a year coming straight from expireds. And his sister did the organizational and he did the calling. And so what he did basically, every morning he would get the new expireds, and it was before we had Espresso, right? So they would take the piece of paper and his assistant would give him the piece of paper, and he would call that person. And you heard the phrase, we're going to call until you either list or you die, right? And that's where all that came from. So he would have maybe a 30 stack of papers, and he would keep on calling them every day. He would leave a message if they didn't answer, and he would keep on calling them every day. And it took months for it to happen, okay? But when it started happening, he was getting a listing every day because he had followed up, right?
Yeah.
And Mike Sherrard, who's a big YouTuber, I'm in a seminar with him right now. And he said the whole thing is like you go to YouTube, you start expireds, you do everything, and then it doesn't work the first week. And you're saying, nobody's answering the phone. This doesn't work. You have to go in with a commitment. Like I am going to do this for a period of time. And I'm going to delay gratification because it doesn't happen immediately.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. What's the longest you have called
Years.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I got a $5 million listing probably after 2 years. I kept calling him. And then one day I called him and he said, I'm coming. He was like he had a front beach home. And he said, Betty, I'm in town. Can you come over? I said, I'm on my way.
You probably had your little index card from every phone call and little notes. You knew who he was right away. That's an awesome story. And 2 years for a $5 million listing. That's a no-brainer.
And I mean, that just, if you look at it as a long-term thing and that it builds up. And if you keep on doing it, then you're going to get consistency. But if you do it haphazardly, it will not work.
No, you're right. Too many people want the instant gratification. I think we're all guilty of it in some places of our life. So how many calls are you making a day, and how many calls does it take for you to hit your contacts?
I don't know where I heard this, and I had the statistics, but 12 contacts to get an appointment.
Okay.
But I have to be honest right now, I'm not counting. But when I do my class, where I'm doing it, I do a mastermind class mainly to keep myself consistent, really.
I was asking that, are you in a mastermind group, or do you role play?
Yeah. So, role playing and support, is what works. So like, if you know that you've got to be accountable to somebody every single day that I've done my calls, then that works. So consistency and staying accountable with somebody and groups really work well, because then you can come in and talk about what works and what hadn't worked, or a particular case that you've come into. But I try to work. Still don't have as many expireds, and I don't work the whole area. So I'd say that when I'm prospecting daily, it's usually doesn't take that long. It's no more than an hour to call the expert. Yeah.
Who else do you call? Do you circle prospect, or?
I call, I have a neighborhood that I work that's outside of Charleston in the area that I live. And I call those people too. And they're sort of like, I don't know them. It's a geographic farm. They might have seen my name, or they might be getting information from me, but I don't know them.
Chances are I've seen your name 30 plus years.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is just incredible, really, seriously.
Yeah. But a lot of times they don't know who I am, and it's the same kind of thing. I do it in a way that I'm their friend. I'm there to help them. how, coming from curiosity, like,
Mhm.
or information, like how can I provide them some information about the market, about what's going on in the community, that kind of thing.
Will you call around and do your just listeds too around the area when you list a property?
No.
Okay, they're not perfect.
I used to do that.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. Okay, so I know that you are a coach. Are you yourself still in coaching?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I find that if I'm not in coaching, I'm not consistent. If
Yeah.
I don't have anybody to report to, I'm left to my own devices. I do it with everything. Like I have this guy, actually, I had his property listed, and we text every morning. If we work, I have to drink a protein shake, work out, and drink 8 waters. And I text him that every day.
Oh.
And, he's like, I'm not going to not do it because, he had like a $3 million listing with me. I'm not going to not do it.
No, do
So
it.
your partner is important, who is going to keep you accountable. And he
Oh,
just sent me, yeah. So he just sent me a text. I know he's watching everything I do, and I would not do anything that's going to make him think I'm not dependable. Right.
is he going to watch this interview?
Oh, that's a good question. No, he may if it's on YouTube, right?
He might, but you know what? He'll appreciate your honesty. He'll now
Yeah.
know that you really are doing what you say that you're doing.
Exactly.
Which is really big for people. And like you said, support from accountability partners and a coach is vital to your business, because we will let ourselves down before letting other people down.
Isn't that crazy? It is crazy, but it's true.
It's kind of sad, but that's something we can all work on in 2024. So tell us a little bit about your 90-day mastery program that you're
Okay.
offering.
I'll give you one example too. Like I've had the same workout coach for 25 years. Like he calls me virtual, since COVID. I used to go work out with him, and now we do virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute I don't have him, I don't work out.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I go at 6 a.m. and my daughter goes with me too, with our her. And
It's crazy.
Exactly like that. My daughter's like, why can't I go after school? And I'm like, hey, don't do it. You have to do it in the morning.
Yeah. So that's my class. My class, it's sort of where I got the 90 days is the book, the 12-week year.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about getting as much as the results in 90 days rather than spreading it out for a year.
Yeah.
Right. And, there's so many theories on how long it takes to create a habit. Gary Keller says 68 days in the book, The One Thing. And then, we've heard 21 days. So I thought, well, 90 days is going to cover us to begin to create a habit. And it's not that we won't have another class. You can sign up for another class, but you feel like it's starting. You got to start right on at the beginning to accomplish your goal. So like in 90 days, we want to have some tangible results.
100%.
But more than that, we want to create a habit.
And that's possible. And going back to the gym, because you've mentioned that, I've been with my gym now 15 years because they gave me the first 3 months for free. I mean, just because I knew them, they say, come to the gym, check it out. And look how brilliant they were. It created a habit within those 3 months, like you said, 90 days. And 15 years later, here we are. So I think that you'll have a lot of success with your mastery program.
Exactly.
For sure. Okay, so if there was a newer agent or a stagnant agent, what would be your advice for them leading into 2024 to bring some new habits to be more successful?
Yeah, I mean, I think the things that we've already talked about, but just realizing that you're going to get better. Another example of that is like if you look at some of the people that are making millions of dollars on YouTube or with expireds, it didn't come at the beginning. It's the mastery of repeating something over and over and over, and doing it over and over and over. So if you do something for 90 days over and over and over, you're going to be probably ahead of people that have been doing it for 20 years inconsistently.
Mm-hmm.
So consistency at the beginning is what's going to make the difference. So like, again, I had a team, and this young guy named Caleb Pearson was on my team. He was 22 when he came on the team. And I would sit in the office and call expireds, and he would listen to me. And then he would do it. And it must have been 6 months, and he got no results. And then he started getting results. So now he's 33 years old. He's like a multimillionaire. He has 600, he owns 600 homes, and when I think about somebody, it came from, it wasn't like he was working all day. He was just consistently working every day.
Yes.
Every day.
Getting on the phones every morning. So for an agent, that should look like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah. I think you have to build up to it, just like exercise. You don't want to burn yourself out. And back to Andrew Lacey, I could remember him saying, he started with 1 hour, and then he moved to 2 hours, and then he was 3 hours, and he could not force himself to go over 3 hours. It takes a lot of energy.
It does. 3 hours is a big number. How do you keep a healthy mindset and keep going throughout the day when maybe...
I was thinking this, I don't think some of the negative self-talk maybe never goes away. Like, I don't want to work out today. I don't want to call today. And instead of letting that stop you, you just, there's that voice again, right?
Yeah. No. And so you just have to just do it.
Do it anyway. And it's like,
walk into the office and put your headset on and make the phone calls.
Yeah. And just like my mind can, do crazy things. Like, it goes from, I don't want to do it, to like, life is short, like, you better.
That could go either way. Life is short. I don't want to make calls. Life is short. Make the calls so that you can live a really nice life and go on vacations and afford the things you want to go and do.
But it's true. All the good things, like it, right? If you allowed yourself to listen, you'd eat desserts all day long, right? You can't do it.
Train your brain. For right. Sure. So Betty, what is your goal for 2024 in transactions?
Oh, that's a good question, because I really am focused more on my team and coaching, so, and my price point is really high.
Okay.
So I have a goal of 24 deals.
24 deals. And what is y'all's average price point down there?
Yeah. So, here where I am on the beach, it's like, it's over $1 million.
Ooh. So bare minimum, that's 24 million. And then the commission off that. Oh yeah. Okay. And you predominantly list property, right? Of course you'll work with buyers, but you pretty much list.
Yeah. In fact, if I could never work with another buyer, that would be better.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I do like buyers that buy my listings, or, that are in the area. I do like buyers that are in the area where I work.
Do you really like the buyers that show up when you're holding an open house for your own listing? That don't have an agent? Are those your favorite buyers?
Exactly.
They're everybody's favorite buyer, right? Well, it was such a pleasure to talk with you today. Please let us know how we can get in touch with you, your email address, phone number, websites.
Yep. My email address is my name, Betty Gales at Gmail, BettyGales at Gmail. My cell is 843-270-8193. And I think that's good. You can text me at that number. If you're interested in joining the mastery program, let me know. I don't have a date set yet, because I'm waiting. I want 10 to 15 people in each program before I launch it.
Okay. So y'all have heard that. Reach out. You can text her and she can sign you up. And I'm guessing that right around the new year would be a wonderful time to
It would be a good time. In fact, I think I was just talking with somebody in your office about, like, the last day of the year is such a great year for expired.
Oh yeah. No, that would be perfect. Yeah, it's like the number one day, right? The December 31st,
Mm-hmm.
right around that.
And
Well,
there goes your brain. Well, I don't want to work on New Year's Eve, right?
it's New Year's morning, so you want to work New Year's morning so that you don't have to work New Year's Day.
Right. Or you could tell yourself, like, if I work that one day, I could take the next week off, right?
Oh gosh. See, you really do have the devil and the angel. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Great. Enjoyed it.